Why, hello there, everybody, and welcome back to the Independence Public Library's Science Time. I am part-time scientist Mr. Alex, and today we're going to be working on something really cool. I like to call it a color crawl, and the reason I call it that is because what we are going to do is take all these glasses of water right here, and we are going to watch the water from one glass crawl up and out and into another glass. It's a very simple activity to do, but it's still very cool to watch and very fun to see the results of. So for this, all we're going to need is we're going to need some glasses that we can put water into. We're going to need paper towels that we can use to act as the bridge between these glasses so that it can hop up out of the paper or up out of the cup into the paper towel and hop into the other glass of water, crawling up the paper towel and crawling into the cup. And finally, we're also going to be using some food color, or you can also use liquid watercolors. And the reason we're doing this is so that we can tell when the colors start to crawl from one cup into the other. If we don't have the water colored differently, it's a little difficult to be able to tell where the water came from. So that's why we're going to be coloring them. And actually, the way that I'm going to be doing it is kind of unique in that I'm going to start out with three very, very popular mixing colors, namely red, yellow, and blue, and I'm going to be combining them together into glasses that are clear. I'm going to make out a little hexagon right here, where red will go into a clear, will go into yellow, will go into clear, will go into blue, will go into clear, will go into red, forming a big hexagon, a big cycle where it all kind of links together. And we'll see all of these colors mixed together in the clear colors. Like I mentioned before, you're going to want to make sure that you've got glasses that you can put the water into to make this work. And as you can also tell, these aren't all the same glasses. I've got 4 from this one set, but then I also have a jar right here. And then I also have slightly different glass. You're going to want to make sure they're all approximately at the same size. They don't have to be exact, but if we're using ones about this size, we wouldn't want to use one this tall, for example. We can, and in fact that might be fun to experiment with, but the way that we're setting it up for right now, it might be easier if they're all around the same height. So first what we're going to do is we're going to take the glasses that we're going to connect and put them into the right order. I'll set up the rest in a moment, but for right now, let's focus just on the red food coloring that's going to be going into the clear. So in order to have these two cups have their water crawl between each other, we're going to want to get them as close together as possible and make sure that you fill the glasses close to the top. Not so much that it's going to overflow, of course. Give yourself a little wiggle room. But the fuller it is, the easier it's going to be to get the water to move from one side to the other. Get them right up as close together as they can be. And now we're going to grab a paper towel, like this, and we're going to use this to act as a bridge between these two. Now, what you really want to make sure is that the paper towel that you've got is the right size so that it can touch the bottom of one cup, like that, come out, and then bend over and touch the bottom of the other cup. This paper towel happens to be just about the perfect size for these two cups. If it touches the bottom of each of the glasses, it only pops up a little bit. What you want to do is you want to have the amount that the paper towel comes out of the cup to be as small as possible. That's going to make this work a bit better. And that's going to take some folding of the paper towel if it doesn't already start at the same size. And in order to make it fit more comfortably into the cups, folding it in half lengthwise, or sometimes into thirds lengthwise, might also help. I'm just folding mine in half. And then I make the little point where it's going to be right in the center. And then it's just as simple as putting it in. And be careful, since if you're working with food coloring, it's very, very possible that you might stain yourself if you're not careful. So make sure that the space that you're working in will stay clean and clear, and that you can clean up afterwards, and try to not get it on your clothes. I think I'm doing well okay. I'm doing well right now. We'll see if that lasts. And so now you can see the water has started to move up the paper towel from both sides, soaking it. Very strongly red on this side. Still clear on the other side. It's going to take some time for the water to fully mix and get all the way up one side and down to the other one, so we'll let that sit for a bit. You may find that if you use a lot of water, you're going to need more food coloring in order to make it really work. If that's the case, it should just be a little bit of extra food coloring or liquid watercolors that you just put a little bit into. And then let it disperse or stir it, whichever you feel would work better, and then we just let it wait. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up the rest of these into the configuration, make our little hexagon, and then we're going to sit back and we're going to wait until the water crawl does its thing. So after waiting for a little bit, we see that the color ended up crawling up the paper towel that connected one of the colors up the paper towel and then crawled into the glass of water next to it, taking along with it some of the food coloring. And so because we had those clear ones in between our starting colors, red, yellow, blue, we get the cool mixture of those colors together. So in this case, red and yellow climbed into this one to make orange. Yellow and blue climbed into this one to make green. And then red and blue climbed into this one to make purple. But there might be something that you noticed while we were doing it. If you're looking at the footage and it's sped up, you can kind of see that orange and purple here didn't really get started all that quickly. It's very quick to see that yellow and blue ended up hopping together to make and mix into the green cup really, really quickly. Is that just something about yellow and blue that are quicker to mix than the others? Or this green? Well, no, it's actually about the water level. If you take a look at it, you can see the water level change between the cups after a long enough period of time. And I mentioned before that I tried to find cups and glasses that are about the same size together, but I wasn't paying very much attention to when I was pouring the water levels. This cup is very, very short compared to the rest. So even when it's full, it might have a water level that's lower than the water levels of these cups, as it did. So what happened was the water ended up flowing downwards into this one first, mixing the green there before it had time to move back and mix with the rest of them. As you can see now, most of them are about the same level. I had to clean up a bit of the mess during the process. As you could see, it was overfilling into the green and then spilling out onto the table. So it took some time before the orange and the purple even really got going. But afterwards, after the green and everything else had kind of leveled out, they started to mix into each other, and they ended up at this almost uniform, same water line. And the colors crawled into the cups and mixed together just like that. Really, really cool stuff, huh? And the reason this happens is through a process that we call capillary action. And that's just a really, really fancy way of saying that water and other liquids can move without the help of gravity, and sometimes even against gravity, by being attracted to a particular solid. In this case, paper towel. The fibers in the paper towel attracted the water molecules, so they went up even though gravity is pushing it down. The attraction between the water molecules and the fiber in the paper was stronger than gravity was pushing down on it. So it won out. The force pushing it up won out, at least to a point. Eventually it would get to the point where it'd be too much, and gravity would win out and it would kind of level out somewhere. And in fact, that's why I recommended that when you put the paper towels into the cups, you make sure it only pokes out a little bit. Just a little bit. Just enough to get it over into the other cup. If you make it so you're using, say, a really long paper towel or really short cups and it's poking all the way up here, and the cups are down here, it's very likely that there's not going to be enough force with the capillary action to get all the way up and all the way down. Yeah, but that's really, really cool stuff. And in fact, this capillary action is actually the same or a similar process to how plants get water from their roots. When you water the plant into their roots, it climbs up the plant and into the rest of it. So if you're watering the roots of a tree, that's how the leaves get water, through capillary action, pushing the water up through the attraction in the tree and making it all the way to the leaves, even though gravity is telling water to go down. Gravity's trying to push everything down at least a little bit. So, with that, thank you very much for joining me on this really cool science time. I hope you had a whole lot of fun trying it out. Play around with the different water levels and try mixing different colors together and see what kind of results you get. I mentioned before that we weren't going to use these, but how much different do you think it would have been if one of these was in the middle, the water level up here? It's a cool thing to think about. Give it a try. Be sure to tune in next time for more really cool science time fun here at the Independence Public Library's Facebook page. I'm part-time scientist Mr. Alex, wishing you a great rest of your day. Take care. By the way, one last thing I forgot to mention. Don't just throw out your leftover paper towels that you used in order to mix them together. If you've got a space, put them down and let them dry for a bit. You end up getting these really, really cool looking watercolor-esque designs, almost like they're tie-dyed. A little strong on the red. I did spill a bit when I was taking them out. But yeah, really, really cool. And once they're dry, you can just kind of hang them around if you want. They're just really neat to look at. Okay. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.